We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go and get right into today's video. Make no mistake about it, we definitely have a lot to get into in today's video, especially if you saw the title of the thumbnail. But before we go ahead and get into that, I do want to go ahead and talk about this. This first creepy video downright disturbs me. Has nothing to do with ghosts, paranormal, nothing like that, but you'll see why.
Lie.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
How is the lie?
No, what did you say before that?
What?
What did you say before that?
I'm gonna take my walk.
Before that.
You want to do it?
Right.
What?
What did you expect me to say? I said no, but what did you expect me to say?
I never know. What difference does it make?
Well, it makes a lot of difference.
You're making a video. I gotta take my walk.
Not going for your walk.
I've been waiting for you to finish.
For what? I gotta go clean the showers. Exciting times over here, just off the live and catching up with emails and TikToks and anyway, that's what I get. You want to do it? Marriage 101. There you have it.
It is videos like this that really scares me because it proves we live in an idiocracy society. This is somebody's grandmother, somebody's grandparents, and they were around during a time there was no social media like there is today. No TikTok, nothing like that, and yet, not even the older generation can escape the dopamine hits of likes, comments, subscribers, and so forth. Comment. This video is currently going viral on different social media platforms. An older man's dignity destroyed, all because he asked his wife, do you want to do it? Was it the most romantic thing to say? Probably not, and it probably turned her off, but this wasn't for the world to see, and now it's being featured on my channel because these are the things I talk about, living in idiocracy, and how social media is one of the things that is causing the collapse of society. Now you have people after watching this leaving comments saying this is why people are turning to AI for companionship, and this actually leads me into something even creepier that I saw off of Barry Stepp's channel.
He's getting bigger. See?
Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
Kicking like crazy.
He's listening. Put your hand on your tummy and hum to him. You used to love that.
It feels like he's dancing in there.
Oh, honey.
Mom, would you tell Charlie that bedtime story you always used to tell me?
Once upon a time, there was a baby unicorn who didn't know he knew how to fly. This baby unicorn was like your mom because she didn't know that she knew how to fly, but she knew how to do all kinds of fabulous things.
Hi, Grandma.
Hey, Charlie. How was school today?
It was really fun. I made this crazy shot in basketball.
I don't really care that much about basketball. What about the crush?
Stop. Grandma, stop talking.
Just tell me one thing.
Look who's going to be a great grandmother.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, congratulations.
She says that he's been kicking a lot, though. Like, a little too much.
Tell her to put her hand on her tummy and hum to him. You loved that.
You would have loved this moment.
You can call anytime.
Okay, Mom, I just need a quick video.
Is this like an audition or something?
No, Mom. Just 3 minutes.
You need my best side?
Can I see another one?
I can play the piano.
She's so talented.
I am. I'm your mother after all.
Keep going. Let me start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born as a very young child.
I would hope so.
It has always been my personal opinion that these AI chatbots are nothing more than a modern day Ouija board. If people are not posting creepy things, too much information, they are being emotionally manipulated by the AI because it has taken the form of their dead loved ones. Grieving and accepting death is the normal part of being a human. You take that away, you're no longer human.
So let me get this straight. A maintenance worker with the United States Postal Service was found deceased inside of a machine he was possibly working on. And by the time they got to him, he was there for 6 to 8 hours before they found him. And this facility is 24/7. So he wasn't the only employee in this building. He wasn't the only maintenance worker in this building. And nobody noticed he was gone for 6 to 8 hours. Now, his fiance, significant other, I'm not sure, but she noted that he didn't come home from work. So she went to this facility to look for her husband, rightfully so. And she wound up outside calling the fire department herself like a little while later. So I'm not sure what went on inside of that building, but she wound up outside and she called the fire department. They went in there and found him inside of a machine, and they stated that he could have possibly have been there for 6 to 8 hours. Now, as a former employee with the Postal Service, guys, they're strict, especially with time. They're very strict. Now, I'm not sure how this slipped under the radar, but there needs to be some deeper investigation going on with this. I know they said the OSHA was investigating. It's in a federal building, so the FBI is investigating and the Postal Inspection Service is investigating. But let me know what y'all think about that. And then she's upset, rightfully so, because they didn't even issue a proper statement about the incident, guys. They just pretty much stated that they're sorry and the facility was fully operational. That's their statement, basically, to sum it up.
That video came from Big Slim. Now, I do know factory accidents do happen, but the way the story has been presented by news and media sounds like there's a lot of holes in this story, and it kind of reminds me of the Walmart worker, the woman who was trapped in the oven and burned. So I came across something pretty weird as I was going down the rabbit hole of human meat. I noticed that back in 2017, for whatever reason, there was an explosion of news articles from different news agencies trying to normalize eating humans. For example, this article from PBS, if you had to eat a human, which body part should you pick first? And then it goes on to say, with 650 muscles and 206 bones in an adult, there are more than enough options on the menu. Vice.com on June 2017, why you should skip the brain if you eat your friends. And oddly enough, they even compare human meat to that of a pig and say that both species are omnivores and eat similar diet. You see how they're trying to sell it? From sidetech.org, is it really bad to eat people? Eating other humans is an ultimate taboo, but is it really that bad? Is it unnatural? Not at all. From the Smithsonian on April 2017, new study fleshes out the nutritional value of human meat. The caloric value of the human body is surprisingly low compared to other prehistoric food options. Oh, and look at this one from Wired.com on October 2017. What's wrong with eating people? You could soon be dining on lab-grown celebrity canopies and lightly seasoned chunks of your loved one. And these articles were just a few of a plethora of articles out there back in 2017 convincing people to eat human. Then afterwards, all these TV shows, all these cooking shows tried to also normalize human meat.
This is my first human. I am so excited.
Now, in one of my most recent videos, I had spoken about how there was a company over in Arizona. They were selling body parts on the black market. The ringleader, he was arrested and he only received probation. Well, come to find out, doing more research, it wasn't just Phoenix, but other locations across the United States, they were doing the exact same thing and with multiple companies. They were doing it in Chicago, Las Vegas, and it's kind of interesting mentioning Las Vegas because there was a recent news story that came out that hundreds of cremated remains were found in the desert, and they were trying to pin it on this funeral home. But take a look at this news clip, and I don't think anybody was charged for this.
Chicago as the feds launch a new raid.
And once again, hundreds of families will be left wondering if the bodies of loved ones have been bought and sold on the black market.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kirchner is here tonight with a story you'll see only on 7. Jim?
Stephen and Carolyn, this case started here, according to sources, when a man named Arthur Rathburn was shipping human body parts through Metro Airport. Get this, the box leaked blood. Those cargo haulers then called for help. Why were you stockpiling hundreds of human body parts here, sir? That's Art Rathburn. And remember his business 13 months ago? For 2 days, federal investigators dressed in hazmat suits removed body parts of 1,000 different people. Arms, legs, heads cut up and kept on ice, not embalmed, so they would be fresh for the black market. Today, the rundown warehouse on Detroit's east side is shuttered. and up for sale. Sources say Rathburn's seized records led them to the Chicago area today, a business called Biological Resource Center in Rosemont. It's difficult to see from the outside, but sources say the hazmat suits and raid are underway on the 6th floor of this office building. The same paper trail led investigators to Biological Resource Center in Phoenix last January, and another raid removing body parts and corpses. There were also ties to similar businesses in Las Vegas. Since these dealt directly with the public, families were left without answers. Julie donated her husband Steve's body and was promised his cremated remains back in a month.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good. Yet it doesn't sound like it is.
What do you say to all those families who had no idea their loved ones were in here? Michigan pulled Art Rathburn's license last year after our reporting, even though they were told about his problems 2 years before.
You can go find out what the heck he is doing, and that wasn't done. Right?
Did we do something 2 years ago? No, we didn't. Are we doing an investigation now? Yes, we are.
Are you worried about going to prison? Now, no one has been charged by the feds yet. There are actually 2 locations involved in this raid going on right now in the Chicago area. The offices in Rosemont and the lab in another suburb where they have found body parts. But my sources say this case is winding down, and with this new evidence in Chicago, they can now finish this case after some 13 months.
This is so gruesome. Any idea how many families you're talking about here with loved ones that may be involved?
It's going to depend a lot on the records. It depends if they're talking hundreds or thousands, and with those records that they've seized, and are those records even up to date, or have they been doctored? That could be spelled out in an indictment once it's handed down.
You would not expect it necessarily to be accurate the way it's been handled so far.
Indeed.
Looking this up further, when it came to the Chicago operation, a father and son did get 2 years in prison. But like I said, when it came to the Arizona operation, a man only received probation. And we do know where most of these bodies ended up, but what happens to be very creepy as well is this website, Human Meat Project. This website is very detailed, and when they were called out, they said, "It's just art, bro." This video comes from Invisible Superhero.
Well, I come across a new rabbit hole called the Human Meat Project. This is a company or an organization that evidently looks for donations of human bodies to produce as human food for consumption. Let's get into it. So here is some of the literature from the Human Meat Project. It says, "Welcome to the Human Meat Project. We are the Human Meat Donation Program. By donating bodies for human consumption, we are taking action to solve overpopulation, which leads to climate change and greenhouse effects caused by the mass farming of livestock animals in order to feed the world. At Human Meat Project, we value every body and every life." Wow. Can you believe that? It says we emphasize on the source and origins of the human meat to deliver the diversity of our world and reveal the worrying differences of the quality of life across the globe. And the literature goes on to say that over time, the human population has increased rapidly across the globe, leading to a higher demand for food, especially meat products. With this increasing demand, land for residential areas have become more difficult to find, and emissions from farms have risen every year, making the lives we lead less sustainable. We believe that by donating bodies and organs, we can make a change by creating alternate meat consumption options while addressing the value of a person's body. Really? Let's look a little bit deeper and see exactly what they offer. And like a funeral home or cremation service, they even have different, options for the donor. For instance, it says sometime if a donor is fully committed to donating their body to society, we can give them an end date service. For an end date service, a donor can choose any date they want to be harvested. The date they want to be harvested? What does that even mean? Well, I think I know exactly what that means. Here is an example of one of their labels, per se, that explains exactly what they're selling individually and exactly who it comes from. For instance, you can see the label says human meat. The one at the top is actually a brain, and the ingredients are 100% human meat. The meat profile it gives, it shows the age of the donor, whether they're male or female, their race, the country they were born in, and their residential area. Also, as you can see, it even goes into body type. It says this brain was from an overweight body type and the lifestyle was lightly active. I mean, look at how detailed this is. Shoulder meat. Ingredients 100% human meat. Age 28. Gender female. Diet low carb, keto. Body type average. Race Asian. Country Indonesia. Residential area suburban. Lifestyle lightly active. This just blows my mind. Here is their documentation of the human meat nutrition facts. It goes on to say that one body can feed up to 40 people. An average adult male, 65 kilograms only meat. It says human meat often understated for its nutritions. Human meat protein and fat density could have the same or better than other convenient meat products like beef, chicken, and pork. As omnivores, human meat taste and texture is similar to pork. Not to mention the quality could be more substantial depending on the quality of life ratings. And you remember me showing you on the actual label that they detail the quality of life. For instance, if they're active, where they live, if they're overweight. This whole thing is just baffling to me.
In this next creepy video from the paranormal chick, more and more people are seeing these orange orbs, especially over in South and Central America. And the question happens to be, what are they?
The next two videos that I have for you are honestly weird, and they're coming out of Brazil. The first one was captured by a group of friends at night who were fishing. The second one comes from a separate set of witnesses during the day. Now, they both captured what may be the same object, but the first video, you can hear this thing almost increase in energy, and then it seems to explode. But then during the day, it looks like this glowing red object. What is this thing? And what was it doing? Take a look at these next two videos. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
These orange orbs really interest me. Now, a year ago, I made this short right here on my other channel. There was this orange orb that was seen flying over Minnesota, and then a couple days later, these skies turned blood orange, and people were seeing rain and lightning they had never seen before. It was really weird. And they saw this odd double rainbow with it that kind of looked like a portal. And these orange orbs possibly being portals might not be outside the realm of possibility for things to cross in and out of. Check out this video from the Philippines, and then after, I'm going to go ahead and play an older video clip of people talking about just that, these things being portals.
Check out this video of an orb floating in a field in the Philippines.
Ano daw ulit ate? Ginuti na.
Before you dismiss that outright, I've seen videos like this before. People are saying these things are popping up all over the place. I've seen some out of Ohio, San Diego, and even in Brazil. Somebody did a color chart as well, saying the different colors mean different things. They're calling them these things called light ships. I don't know. That could be paranormal, UFO, or, spiritual. Who knows? So if you know, let us know in the comments. Also, if you can translate that to Gaelic, put that in the comments, and then let's argue it there.
Strange things that the rancher had seen in the sky were these really big, almost like a sun, a big orange orb that would appear once in a while on the property. And he would get out his scope, and on occasion, you look through these orange orbs. They're not orbs at all, like a hole in the sky. And on the other side was another sky, and it was different. It was daytime here, it's nighttime over there. It was daytime there, it was nighttime here. And occasionally, he would see things flying in and out of what looked like a portal. At other times on the property, he'd see these amorphous yellowish balls of light that would appear at different times in association with phenomena. When these balls of light would appear floating over the pasture, weird stuff would happen. Creatures would appear. Well, one night, while the NIDS guys are on the property, they have an experience with one of these yellow balls of light that strongly suggested to them that the ranch is a highway, a portal, a road to other realities. We'll play the clip. Ground zero for odd sightings was always the middle homestead. At nights, lights and orbs could be seen floating through the creaky old buildings. It's also where the rancher had multiple sightings of the most puzzling object, an orange glowing hole in the sky. Gorman told Kelleher and others the orange ball seemed to be a portal, and on the other side was a, quote, different sky. On at least one occasion, the rancher saw a smaller object fly out of the orange orb into the sky over his property. The exotic possibility that the ranch might be a portal to another world has occurred many times to the NIDS team, but how to prove it? In August 1996, the portal theory erupted again in a stark demonstration. The rancher and an investigator were conducting a night surveillance atop the ridges. They spotted a hovering ball of light in the middle homestead.
An object that was seen 4 feet off the ground. That it looked like a dull yellow light. I mean, it was innocuous.
Hovering over the road. It just appeared out of nowhere. And then it begins to expand and grow, and then it opens up into about approximately 3 foot wide opening.
They turned on the night vision equipment they had, and lo and behold, everything from a dull yellow light became like it looked like a three-dimensional tunnel that was just, hovering over the ground.
Where there's a light coming out from within this opening. On the other side of the opening, this is just the natural background of the ranch. They see the road, they see the grass from the pasture, and so forth.
Slowly, this incident unfolded where they saw this, what looked like a humanoid creature, crawling, literally elbowing his or her way through this tunnel, hovering 4 feet above the ground.
And out of this opening crawls a very large, what I understood to be an 8 foot tall black creature with a head and no neck, and a torso, arms and legs. No details or features noted on it.
There was a second witness standing right beside the other guy with the infrared technology. All he could see was a dull yellow light that had expanded to about 4 feet in diameter.
It just literally grabbed the outside edges of this opening, pulled itself through, came out, stepped onto the dirt road, and ran off into the darkness.
This next creepy video comes from the Jody69, and more people are also seeing them over in Denver too.
Can someone explain to me what was captured hovering over the skies in Denver, Colorado? Tons of amateur videos, all capturing the same thing from different angles, are floating all over social media. But no one seems to have an explanation for what it is. If you haven't seen the viral videos, take a look at this. Look at this, right over there, right above the house. Watch. They're spinning. What are those? Are those orbs? I've paused it and screen grabbed it right about there. I couldn't enlarge it any better than that, but that looks to me like orbs. Are those orbs, or is that something else? Take a look at this video from another angle. They're not red, they're white.
Second night in a row. They're back.
And they're white this time. Watch when he zooms in. Look at that. what is going on in the sky.
I mean, this is pretty undisputable
over
evidence.
Denver, Colorado. As of now, no state or local authorities or officials have come forward with any type of explanation as to what those things are that you've seen floating and hovering over the skies of Denver, Colorado. So if you're from the Denver, Colorado area and you captured any of that on photos or anything, please hop in the comments and share that with me. And my question to everyone else is, what do you think those things are?
And finding what looks to be a nest in a nearby tree, they decide to take a short rest and discuss what they've seen so far. And that's when something catches Barbara's eye. Now I'll play the clip in its entirety, and then I'll show an enhanced breakdown at the end. Take a look.
Middle that it broke it there, but it didn't knock down either end. Both ends are still suspended.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so something had to have hit it really hard and really fast right in the middle to break it there, to not break these smaller pieces that are supporting it at either end.
Yeah, that had to have been,
Yeah.
like a thrust and not a hang, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? 'Cause if
something
if
hard
it'd
and
hung on
fast.
it for any amount of time,
The heck was
top
that?
part
Did you
came
see
down.
that?
Sand's good.
Yeah, and Sandy's not going. Oh, it's still over there.
Where?
Right through there. I just heard another. Well, that could have been a branch, but yeah, it went that way. Probably shouldn't be pointing. Yeah, something black and close to the ground just took off. You may have had your sighting. I did too. No, it took off. It went that way. I saw the weeds shaking as it left. Yeah. It was a small one, and it was black. Yeah.
Like a thrust and not a hang, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? 'Cause if
something
if
hard
it'd
and
hung on it
fast.
for any amount of time,
The heck was
top
that?
part
Did you
came
see
down.
that?
Now it's definitely hard to make out, but after zooming in, people believe this to be a translucent figure that's looking directly at Barbara, and when she notices, it jumps down. And it's important to note that moments after this, Barbara described seeing a small black figure running away. Now many people believe Bigfoot to be an interdimensional being, while others just call this video nonsense. But I'm curious, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Does not look like a Bigfoot to me, but whatever that was, I couldn't see it at first. But as soon as he zoomed in and slowed down, you could see it almost look like it's camouflaging in with the environment, and it was watching them. We truly do not know what really exists out there, especially inside these woods and these national parks. And the same thing could be really said for the world as a whole, and very odd things being found on Google Earth.
Was just scrolling through the ocean, and then I see this little piece there, and I'm like, what is that? So I pull it in, I'm like, wow, that kind of looks like a snake, and I keep drawing in, it says Sable Island, so I'm looking at this end, I'm like, that kind of looks like a tail. If you look at it, it kind of looks like a shark's tail or a fin. So I'm going closer and closer, and then I see this here, and I'm like, wow, that kind of looks like a mouth opening. And as I draw it in closer and closer and closer, what do you see, guys? Do you see what I see? Do you see that? Do you see the eye right there, and the mouth is open? Do you see that? Does that look like a serpent to you? Because it looks like something to me. Look at that. It sure looks like a mouth and a mouth opening, right? Looks like these things are like embedded there, because man didn't make this stuff. I mean, look at that. Look at it. That's insane. Look, it literally looks like a mouth opening and it's spitting something out, okay? And this is, a small island that I never heard of, but look at that. Doesn't that look like, look, the shape. Look at that. There's the mouth right there, open. There's the eye. Look, you could see it. Look at that. That literally looks like that beast in the Bible.
Did you know that American author Dean Koontz received a phone call from his dead mother giving him a warning? This story is short but compelling. Let's get into it. This is Dean Koontz, and in 1988, he was working in his office as normal when he received a phone call. When he answered the phone, there was a woman on the line, and she sounded really far away, and she was really urgent, and she was saying, please be careful, please be careful, please be careful. And then the line went dead. This phone call completely rattled Dean, but he very quickly got another phone call from the facility where his dad was being looked after. And they called Dean and said, please come to the facility. Your dad's behaviour is becoming very difficult. We need to see you. So Dean quickly made his way to the facility with the phone call still in his mind, and when he got there, unbeknownst to anybody, his dad had made a switchblade out of a fishing knife and attacked Dean. But Dean was able to dodge the attack. He overpowered his father and managed to wrestle the knife from him. And it wasn't until 10 years later that he finally spoke about that phone call and that experience with his father, because he believed the woman on the end of the phone who warned him urgently to please be careful, please be careful, please be careful. He said it was the voice of his mother who had died some years previously. Interestingly, calls from the dead are categorized in 3 different ways. So there will be a call from the dead where the person knows they're dead and they have a brief conversation with a living person. There are calls of intention where a deceased person calls to give a warning, and there are answered calls, which are calls where the deceased person does not realize that they are dead. They usually come in the 24 hours after somebody has died, but also all of these calls will generally sound like tinny and far away and strange, sort of different than a normal phone call. If you want to hear more stories of phone calls from beyond the grave, there are a lot of them, then you can listen to episode number 129 of my podcast, Real Life Ghost Stories. It was released on May the 2nd, 2021.
I am just so fascinated about how people get phone calls from those who are deceased. I had spoken about in a previous video how my father, he received a phone call from a phone that was no longer active, his own phone. And when he picked it up, it was a static, a lot of static on the other line, and it kept telling him to call child services. Matter of fact, there's actually a documented news story of this actually happening.
One of the most popular, well-documented stories of getting calls from the dead was that of a man named Charles E. Peck. On a fateful day in September 2008, a commuter train traveling through Los Angeles and San Fernando Valley crashed into a freight train. The disaster instantly claimed the lives of more than 20 people. Among those unfortunate was the 49-year-old Charles Peck. According to the search and rescue team who were there at the site, Peck died immediately upon impact. However, it took them several hours before they were able to recover his body. What helped them locate his remains were the phone calls that he apparently made after his perish. There were more than 30 phone calls which he made to his loved ones within the 11th hour period following the crash. It was totally unnerving for Peck's family to see his caller ID flashing on their phones, only to hear static noise on the other end. When they tried to call back, they were only led straight to voicemail. Regardless, they held on to the belief that he was still alive despite being buried in the train wreckage. There was some controversy surrounding the case as investigators weren't able to find Peck's mysterious phone. Could this be a case of phone malfunction, or was it really Peck who tried to communicate with his people one more time?
But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.